All right. Do you guys know anything about tires?
A little bit. TYRES.
That is the wrong way to spell it. I'm kidding. It's the right way, just not our way.
Okay.
What about tires?
Well, Crash.net has an article that states, here's the headline: Tire adaptation biggest obstacle for 2016, says Ducati crew chief.
Not just him. Also, who was it? Bradley Smith, I believe, who, for those of you who don't know, he rides for Tech 3 Yamaha. He said recently in an interview that because the Michelin tires are new, everybody, instead of being at like 99%, 99.5% of like their speed and everything on their bikes, and like just testing the last little tiny bit, they're all like 75% now. So like there's a large gap now between what their bikes can do and what they know how to do on their bikes because the tires are different. So what he was saying was it sucks for him and other satellite riders for this season because if all of a sudden one manufacturer gains like half a second or a full second because they have so much more to gain now in lap times, then they're immediately, like all the other manufacturers are going to spend all of their money and all their development costs on their own factory bikes to catch up, which means the satellite teams don't get anything. So he was saying it actually really sucks for the satellite teams this year and the satellite riders because they're going to have no money for development once that starts happening. He said for like the first 4 races or something like that, it's going to be really, really close. And after that, it's just going to take off.
That makes sense. I'm a little bit surprised that Ducati was the one saying that because from what the other factory teams had, I know that Ducati had more time to test the Michelins during last season because they weren't fighting for the championship. None of the Honda or Yamaha racers wanted to put Michelins on their tire during the season to test them out. And I think there's a couple of races where they had the ability to test them out, at least beforehand. Maybe not during the race, but in qualifying to use them. And they chose not to because they wanted to perfect the bike, set the bike up for the race on the Bridgestone tires.
Which makes complete sense because they were going for the championship.
So really, Ducati has an advantage, and they're the ones saying this. Mm-hmm. Maybe, potentially, if they use them. I don't know if people really know. I don't know if the other riders know if they got the chance, except for the people that were riding the Ducatis.
That's interesting. I had no idea that was even allowed.
Yeah,
but it's really smart for Ducati. I mean, this last season was just a learning season, anyways, for them.
Yeah.
Tires. Bridgestone is no more. All Michelin.
And to me, Michelin feels okay. It's the name brand thing.
Mm-hmm.
Feels a little cheaper. I like the Bridgestone. I like the Dunlop. I like Pirelli. I think of race tires when I hear that. Michelin.
Well, and they have that tire man, like the white dude.
Yeah.
That looks like
the villain from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, him. Just looks weird seeing that sticker on MotoGP prototype bikes. Like it looked like you said, it looks cheap.
Yeah.
Also, Paul Espargaro loves them. He says they're amazing.
So he's used to them.
He's not used to them yet.
Oh, but he just likes
it. Yeah. I don't know why, but he does. Like last season, the postseason test, unless it was actually the preseason for 2016, but super early. I forget. Anyways, he was saying how he could already lap the bike like on race pace, and that's with brand spanking new tires. So now when he actually gets used to them, it's gonna be awesome. And they're supposed to have ridiculous rear tire grip compared to the Bridgestones of the last few seasons.
Okay. That's
so power coming out of the corners and like putting the power to the ground is a lot better apparently. But the front tire lacks stability and grip for some guys. And you know
which
how
is
it
the
is
low
cornering.
side.
Yeah. Cornering it, which is why they all low-sided. Like pretty much every rider low-sided in that test, the first few laps. So that's tires.
The thing that I'm worried about is with the new ECU changes. I also think if I look at advantages, the satellite teams have a little bit of advantage because I've heard that the factory teams, since their ECUs are almost being set back a number of years, their bikes are getting worse. satellite teams won't be, I don't believe, affected as much. I obviously don't know about the software, but they don't have as much to lose compared to what the factory teams did. And I know that for them, it's such a hard balance trying to figure out, okay, how much of the bike has changed because of the tires and how much has changed because of the ECU. And they have to find this line of, okay, this is what the ECU has changed on the setup of the bike, what we need to change, and this is due to the tires. Takes longer for them to test that.
Rossi was quoted saying, "The ECU makes the bike feel like it's 2008 again." So they've lost whatever that is, like 8 years of development. Right?
Yeah.
Is it 8 years?
I'm done. Yeah.
Making sure my math is
I
right.
was just about to light up Dorna again for a second.
Dorna? Okay, I understand how they want to make spec racing.
Future is now.
The future
8
is now.
years ago.
The future was 8 years ago. I mean, come on. Okay. I understand how they want spec racing because for the viewer and even I guess for the riders themselves, it evens out the playing field, which makes it more like it evens out the machinery, sorry. So it makes the races more about the rider's skill than whoever has the fastest bike. I understand that.
You don't have Formula One happening.
Yeah, which is just a shit show right now. But a lot of the fans watch because they want to see the bike develop. They want to see the craziest technology on a bike possible right now. And they're going to lose that. At least some of it.
Yeah, I'm worried about what that's going to do to manufacturers. Honda doesn't even want to race if they can't put proprietary tech into their bikes to test out, which they eventually put into their bikes. I know Yamaha does the same. I'm sure all companies do the same, but I know that was Honda's big point of why they're even in MotoGP, which might be a sham. I don't know, but that's what they've said.
Well, look at World Superbike. I know it's a different league and everything, but the new Kawasaki ZX-10R that's coming out, or is out already, I don't know, the 2016 anyways, has the ECU that was developed by their top riders in World Superbike last season. So, I mean, there you can see their technology directly trickles down into the production bikes. And yeah, like we said already, if you make it spec racing, then you lose that. So down the line, the customers who are buying the bikes get nothing new. They stop buying their bikes because they already have the same bike 5 years before that. And the manufacturers lose money because they don't sell as many bikes.
Yeah, so there's things to like and things not to like. The racing could be better as far as uncertainty. There's not going to be the two factory teams maybe leading the way. We might see more parity with the other satellite teams that didn't really stand much of a chance before. There was some riders that could extract a lot of their bikes. Like Tech 3 Yamaha was really good a couple years ago with Cal Crutchlow. We'll see. I guess we'll see what happens.
But does tight, close racing, does that equal good racing? That's my question.
The thing is, then what separates MotoGP from World Superbike? They're still on proprietary bikes. I understand that. But when you're not pushing the tech all the time, you're not pushing the highest quality bikes that you can. What is it?
Because the thing is, when you're pushing the bike like that and you have the craziest tech possible, it allows the rider to change their style and to progress with the bike, even like their skill levels, and you see better racing because of that. If they're limited by their bike, then you're seeing essentially the same racer on 18 different bikes.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, even think of how the style has changed to people going elbow down now. If they would have kept the same bikes that they had 15 years ago, I don't think that'd be possible.
It would never happen.
And we get to see more extreme riding now. It's exciting. It's almost a golden age of riding. As far as tech, the mesh between tech and riding has gone, especially on the factory bikes.
Yeah. Well, and like some people say, they wish they go back to the olden days where they had the two strokes, the crazy machine beast things, and no electronics whatsoever, and it was just strictly down to the rider's throttle hand and his balance and everything, like keeping the bike, the rider riding the bike. But nowadays with electronics, they say it's worse because it aids the rider. It makes it cheaper because the rider is getting help from the bike. But you would never see guys like Stoner then and Mark Marquez, who grew up on the electric aids, be able to race like they race. Like the reason they race like they race right now is because they rely on those aids, and it makes them better. You see more special riding.
Well, they're still able to do stuff with that bike that it shouldn't be able to do. They still push the bike over the limits of those electronic aids.
Yeah, exactly.
They still crash all the time. It doesn't take the danger out of it.
No.
Maybe it makes it a little safer. They go around the laps. They do lap times faster, sure. But you see them sliding in ways. How do you slide with traction control?
Exactly.
They still manage to slide with traction control.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think it limits the rider. I think it allows them to push themselves farther.
Push very hard.
They push very hard. The electronic packages really packs a punch.
Next question.